Dare to cross the threshold into the shadowed realm of nightmare apocalypse, a place where nightmares breathe and the darkness is alive with unseen eyes. Here, the ticking clock is not a measure of time, but a countdown to terror. Step carefully, for each story is a descent into the unknown, and some who wander too far may never return. Steel your nerves and brace your heart as we plunge into the chilling abyss of the night shift. The fluorescent lights buzzed overhead like a hive of unseen insects, their hum burrowing into Jake's skull. His fingers tapped the countertop, each tap syncing with the electric buzz, an unconscious rhythm born of boredom and unease. It was his third week on the overnight shift at Harper's Gas and Go, a lonely outpost on the edge of nowhere, the kind of place where fog drifted in like a living thing and shadows loitered longer than they should. He leaned against the counter, eyes half-lidded, watching the fog press its weight against the glass storefront. It wasn't just fog, it was thicker, denser, like breath on a cold window. Beyond it, only the sputtering neon glow of the open sign marked their place in the world. His phone buzzed in his pocket, a message from his sister. "You good?" he typed back. "Bored. Quiet night." Quiet. He hated that word. Quiet nights had a way of becoming something else. At 2:33 a.m., the chime of the doorbell shattered the stillness. Jake's spine straightened on instinct. His eyes snapped to the entrance. A man walked in, if you could call it that. His hoodie clung to him like wet skin, his jeans smeared with dark earth as if he'd crawled up from the ground itself. His head was bowed, face hidden in the shadow of his hood. No trucker, no drifter, no one you'd want to know. "Need help with something?" Jake asked, forcing calm into his voice. The man didn't answer. He moved with slow, deliberate steps toward the candy aisle. Each step dragged out like he was counting them one by one. Jake leaned forward, eyes locked on the man, fingers twitching near the counter's edge. He'd seen shoplifters before, but this wasn't the jittery energy of a thief. This was something else. On the security screen, the man passed under the camera. Static exploded in a flash of white noise, distorting the image. Jake's heart kicked hard in his chest. "Hey!" he called out louder this time. "If you're not buying, you gotta leave." No response. The footsteps stopped. Jake leaned over the counter, his breath tight in his chest. The aisle was empty. He checked the security monitor again. No one there, just aisles of candy and soda bottles. His phone buzzed in his pocket. A new message from his sister. He hesitated, his thumbs hovering over the screen. "Yeah, why?" Her reply came instantly. "No or not." A chill so sharp it felt like ice water down his spine. His eyes lifted slowly from the phone. The man was there, standing at the end of the aisle, motionless, staring straight at him. No breath, no blink, just stillness. Jake's heartbeat surged like a drumline in his chest. His eyes stayed fixed on the man, while his hand moved slowly, reaching beneath the counter for the baseball bat. His fingers brushed its handle, gripping it tight. "All right, man," Jake said, his voice firmer now, though his throat was dry. "If you're trying to scare me, congrats. It's working. Now leave." The man's head tilted, slow as a clock hand ticking. The fog outside thickened, blurring the neon glow of the open sign. It flickered once, twice, then died. "Back off!" Jake shouted, pulling the bat free and holding it in front of him. "I'm calling the cops, man!" The man raised his hand. Not a hand. The sleeve slid back, revealing thin, bone-white fingers that were too long, too sharp. Claws. The man raised one finger and pointed it directly at Jake. The movement was slow, precise, final. Jake stumbled backward, his breath coming too fast. "Nope! Nope! Nope!" He bolted for the stockroom, slamming the door behind him and twisting the lock. His lungs heaved like bellows, his eyes wild as they darted around the cramped space. He pressed his back to the door, bat gripped so tight his fingers throbbed. He glanced at the security monitor. The store was empty. No sign of him. No sign of anything. His phone buzzed. Unknown number. I see you. His heart stopped. The lights above flickered, not a surge, a slow, deliberate flicker. His phone buzzed again. This time it wasn't a message, it was a photo of him, sitting in the stockroom, right now. Jake's scream came out as a choked rasp. He twisted in a circle, wild eyes scanning the room. No one was there. No one. Then, knock, knock, knock. Slow, hollow, just on the other side of the door. Jake pressed his hand over his mouth to keep from making a sound. Knock, knock, knock. A voice, muffled but clear, right at his ear. Let me in, Jake. Jake squeezed his eyes shut. The knocking stopped. Silence. His breath came in shallow gulps. He leaned in, ear to the door, scratching, slow, steady, fingernails on wood. Let me in. Jake didn't scream. Couldn't. His throat felt cemented shut. His eyes darted to every corner of the stockroom. No exits, no windows, no way out. His phone buzzed. He didn't want to look, but he did. Unknown number. Turn around. His heart stopped. His breath came in short, sharp gasps. He gripped the bat, shaking so hard he could hear it rattle. He turned. The lights flickered, just long enough to see it. A figure, pale, skin stretched too tight over sharp bones, eyes like burning coals. It crouched in the corner. It didn't move, but it saw him. The lights flickered again. It was gone. Unknown number. Run! He didn't think. He moved. Jake threw the door open and sprinted into the store. His breath tore out of him in gasping sobs. His eyes flicked to the security monitor as he ran. There he was running, but there was something behind him. Right behind him. His feet slapped the floor, pushing as fast as they could. The exit sign flickered ahead. Closer, closer. Something yanked his leg. His chest slammed into the floor. The wind knocked from his lungs. No, no, no! He screamed, clawing at the floor, nails scraping tile. He twisted around. The man's face was inches from his own. Yellow eyes, sharp teeth, and a smile that stretched too wide. You should have stayed quiet, it whispered. It pulled him into the fog. His screams echoed. Then they didn't. Silence. The fluorescent lights hummed overhead. The open sign buzzed back to life, flickering softly. The doorbell chimed. A trucker walked in, shaking rain from his coat. Just the buzz of the lights. Quiet. Quiet. As you claw your way back from the fog of tonight's nightmare, I ask you, which moment gripped your heart the hardest? Let me know in the comments below. If you felt the chill, like, subscribe, and stay close.